Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be looking at the newly opened Eglinton Crosstown. I say it's newly opened, yet this thing has been under construction for 15 years too long, uh, or just 10 years too long. Should only have taken 5 years at maximum, but then delays happened, and then COVID happened, and then more delays happened, and then they were like, we're going to open it, and then they never opened. But as of February 8th, 2026, the Eglinton Crosstown line has finally opened. And with that, I thought I would look at what I would do to the line. Starting with the main Eglinton Crosstown line here that it opened with at Kennedy, Ion View, Birchmount, Golden Mile, Hakimi Lubavik, Pharmacy, O'Connor, Sloan, Winford, Agacon Park and Museum. They really need to not have it that long, but it's too late now because Don Valley used to be called Science Center, and apparently it cost $2 million to rename it, which is insane. And then Sunnybrook Park, Laird, Leaside, Mount Pleasant, Eglinton, Avenue, Chaplin, Forest Hill, Cedar Vale, Oakwood, Fairbank, Caledonia, Keelsdale, and Mount Dennis. Now, to describe the line, Mount Dennis is grade separated. It's above ground, but on its own right of way. Keelsdale and Caledonia and Fairbank, all the way, all these stations until Laird are below ground. Then after Laird, Sunnybrook Park is above ground. Don Valley goes back underground, and then goes back above ground for the rest of the stations until it goes underground at Kennedy. Now, extending out of Kennedy, you could have stations along Midland, Brimley, and Danforth, which is here. I don't want to call it Eglinton Square, which is what the area is called, because I feel like that's pretty clear why. And then McCowan, because the station name is now available since the Scarborough RT, or the old Line 3, is not open anymore, and thus McCowan Road station does not exist. And Line 2's station along McCowan is going to be called Shepherd McCowan, because it's supposed to meet with Line 4 if they extend it that far. Anyway, next stop would be Eglinton Go. These stops are very close together, but I mean, here you're serving this McCowan Street, and then here you're serving the Go station because you can actually be right up next to it. And then it continues on to Markham Road, which I called Markington Square. And then it goes to Scarborough Village, which is where Eglinton actually ends. And then it would continue northeast on Kingston, stopping at Guildwood Parkway before it ends at Guildwood Go/Via. Now they could just call it Guildwood Go and be done with it, but I mean, Via does stop there, and it's not just that Via runs through it, so I feel like that's important. On the western end of things, we have above ground, like fully elevated. When I was saying above ground before, I meant street level. Because the portions that were built are on street level, which is above ground, or underground, like a subway. Anyway, continuing out of Mount Dennis, it would go up further, like in elevation, and then go to Jane, with the stop being named Eglinton Flats, because that is the area here, and they already have 2 stations using the name Jane, so you can't get around it. And then a stop at Scarlet. Royal York exists on line 2, so I just called this Royal York North. And then stopping at Islington with the name Lions Gate, because there's a Lions Gate area here. Or I could just call it the Etobicoke Center. It then continues to Kipling, which I called Princess Margaret, because there's an area here. Then extending to Martin Grove, with the name of Rich Grove Village, and then going to a stop which doesn't technically exist. I mean, it doesn't exist at all, because they're actually planning on building this current western extension. But the station wouldn't exist. It's just for line simplicity. If they did build a station here, it would just be called Highway 401-427 because I don't know what else you call it other than interchange station, which is kind of dumb. And there is a bus stop there, so if that helps with the rationale for why there would be a station there. And then the final stop would be at Renforth, or as I would call it, Sentinel Center, because Renforth is up here and you're right next to this Sentinel Center area. Or you could keep it Renforth. Now, you might be wondering, you're right next to the airport, why not extend into the airport? Well, to answer that question, look at the orientation of the station. It's facing downwards, like facing this way. And so you would have to curve around all the way up back onto Renforth and then go up that way. Or you could put a stop here at Matheson and then go up like that into the Terminal 1. The line that would be best to extend into Pearson is the Finch line with stops along Highway 27 and a new GO station, which is under construction, and then continuing along until Dixon Road, where it goes there. Or you can even attempt to squeeze it into the middle of Highway 409, but I don't think that they have space for that. Considering there's also tracks above, like way above ground here. They're elevated for the Up Express, which if you never noticed, Up Express is because it goes between Union and Pearson. But anyway, back to Eglinton, which is the focus of our video. This is what the line would look like with a western extension and the eastern extension. I like that this line goes between GO stations at Mount Dennis and at Kennedy. I think that it's a good line to have, even if it took way too long to build. But that's just facts that everybody knows. Anyway, if you want to see more videos like this, where I make my own versions of TTC lines, or even the full TTC system, let me know in the comments. And otherwise, you can tell me what you think when I post my video of me filming the actual line in person, because I do plan on going on it, since it's a brand new transit line, and why wouldn't I go on it? Anyway, bye-bye.